Welcome. In our channel. Drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I'm super curious. 1 week before my wedding to Henry, his dream girl returned. Elena. His ex had gotten divorced and come back to China. He brought her in front of me and called off the engagement. "Ava, I don't want to settle," he said. "No matter how hard you try, you'll never be as good as her." I didn't say a word. I calmly walked away, cut off my long hair, changed into my biker gear, and returned to the track that had always been mine. He laughed with his friends, saying, "Who would want such a flashy woman anyway? She's definitely not marriage material." But things changed when a photo started circulating among our friends. In it, a slender, fair hand pressed gently against the chest of one of Beijing's wildest elite bad boys. His tattooed, muscular arm was wrapped tightly around the woman's waist. The raw energy in the photo was undeniable. Eventually, Henry called me. "Ava, who is he?" I replied in a lazy, confident voice. "Hey, ex-bro. Let me introduce myself. I'm her legal husband." Chapter 01. I was at the bridal shop for my final dress fitting. In just a few weeks, I was supposed to marry Henry. The dress was custom-made, but even so, it felt tight around the chest and waist. As I stepped into the fitting room, I overheard some voices from outside, clear and unmistakable. "Did you hear? Henry's ex-girlfriend Elena is back in China. I remember when she left him 3 years ago. He was completely broken. Yeah, if Ava hadn't been there for him, he might not have made it through." Who's Ava anyway? Just Beijing's most rebellious princess. Who would have thought she'd actually settle down for Henry? But now that Elena's back, do you think the wedding will still happen? Well, the invitations are already out. If they cancel, it'll be a joke. After their voices faded, I took off the dress. Too tight, just like everything else in that moment. I called Henry, but someone else answered. In the background noise, I clearly heard him say, "Trying to imitate greatness. Ava can't even compare to one finger of Elena." Someone else chimed in. "Ava used to be known as the hardest girl to chase, the hardest to tame." Henry chuckled coldly. "Bro, you should be grateful. Hard to tame. She's been circling around me like a dog for 3 years. Guess she finally chased me into marriage." Another voice asked, "Bro, do you even like her?" There was a pause. Then Henry replied, "Would you like a dog?" The room went quiet. After a long silence, he added, "She's wild, but it's kind of fun watching her behave." Hung up the phone. I looked at myself in the mirror. Long black hair, the tattoos I once had now faded. I suddenly laughed. I was done pretending to be someone I wasn't. Chapter 02. Henry hadn't come home in a week. I listed the wedding house on a real estate platform. Every brick and tile bought by me. But I didn't want any of it anymore. When I was done, I finally got his call asking to meet. He'd arranged the gathering, but he was the last to arrive. When he walked in, Elena was right behind him. Delicate, pitiful, and now looking about 50% like me. He held her hand tightly, putting on an overly protective act. The room fell silent. Everyone's eyes turned toward me. I didn't speak. I just looked down at the red string bracelet on my wrist, worn and ready to snap. I curled my lips slightly. It wasn't until Henry brought her in front of me that he finally spoke. "Ava, I'm not going through with the wedding." I lifted my eyelids, looking at him calmly. "You're calling off the engagement." He pulled Elena closer, his eyes full of fake affection. "Elena is back, and I don't want to settle. No matter how much you try to be like her, you'll never be as good as her. Do you understand? I don't love you." He nodded. "Okay." He looked surprised, like he didn't expect me to stay so calm. "You know, our engagement was arranged by our parents. I've loved Elena for 5 years, waited for her for 3. She's been hurt badly, and I want to give her a home." I was getting impatient. I reached for my bag. "Okay. Are you done?" He stood there, stunned for a moment before continuing. I'll handle my side of the family. You deal with yours. The wedding next week is off. All right. I stood up and walked toward the door. Just as I reached it, he called out, Ava. Turned back. He was still in the same spot. His other hand clenched tightly at his side. Is there something else? Yes. He frowned. Don't you have anything to say to me? Thought about it. I wanted to tell him I envy you. Your dream lover can still return, but mine never will. Instead, I said softly, Congratulations on your wedding. As I closed the door behind me, I heard whispers from inside. No way. Is that really Ava's reaction? Henry said she was head over heels in love with him. Why didn't she even make a scene? Shut up. That was Henry's voice. I didn't look back. I should have realized long ago. Henry was never really himself. He would never have left me for someone else. Chapter 03. After I left, I went straight to a hair salon and cut off the long hair I'd kept for 3 years. When my sharp, blue-tinted short hair appeared, I felt like I was finally becoming me again. I also got a string of letters tattooed back on my wrist. Je ne recule jamais. In French it means, I never retreat. Finally, I went to a shop I hadn't stepped into in 3 years. Lucas, get my bike out. A shirtless, muscular guy came out, shocked. His eyes were red. Ava, sis. Yeah, it's me. The big guy, nearly 6 feet tall, looked me up and down, tongue-tied. Sis, how come you're here? I looked at the 2 bikes displayed proudly in the front, white and black. Smiled. They're still here. Sis, I've been wiping them down every day. They're as good as new. You can ride them anytime. Want me to call the guys? I shook my head. Just bring mine out. I want to ride alone. All right. As I got on the bike, a rush of old feelings came back. I hadn't ridden in so long. It felt like if I didn't ride, I'd forget that summer. The one I couldn't forget. I glanced at the black Kawasaki parked beside mine. Lucas followed my gaze, his eyes watering. I've been waiting for Dominic too. The Kawasaki's been untouched, just sitting here. I keep thinking one day they'll both be back on the road. Pause. They say if you listen to the clock that ticks backward 1,000 times, you'll see the person you want to meet. I've listened to it all. Why hasn't Dominic come back yet? Lucas looked down. Sis, it's been 3 years. I've waited for you. Do you think he'll come back too? I hesitated. So it's been 3 years already. I turned my head, my nose stinging, but I still comforted him softly. That's just a lie. The dead can't come back to life. Then I started the engine. Lucas didn't know I'd already listened 10,000 times. I sped all the way to the mountaintop. Looking at the view below, I shouted into the night. Dominic! I listened to you and tried to get married properly. So why haven't you come back? Tears streamed down my face. You liar. You said you wanted to see me in a wedding dress. Look, it's only for you to see. But it doesn't fit. I've been eating well, living well. So why doesn't it fit? Can't you hold me? The wind is so strong and I'm so tired. On the empty mountaintop, there was only the endless sea of stars. The moon cast its quiet light, softening everything. Behind me, I heard a rustling sound. I turned sharply, but no one was there. Just the insects in the night. Chapter 04. I gathered myself and started heading back down the mountain. But suddenly the black Kawasaki was gone. Lucas! I got off my bike and shouted toward the shop. Where's the bike? Who rode off with it? Just then a horn sounded behind me. My heart pounded faster than ever. For some reason, tears were already streaming down my face. I turned slowly, pressing my hand to my chest. Under the dim streetlight, Dominic leaned against the motorcycle, dressed in black from head to toe. His eyebrows an expression as wild and rebellious as ever. He raised an eyebrow. My little firecracker. Why are you still such a crybaby? Chapter 05. It felt like time had rewound to the first day we met. My parents had fought again, this time over my disobedience, and they gave me a severe beating. All I had said was that they should stop torturing each other and just get a divorce already. What was wrong with that? I ran out, hiding alone in the dark, crying. Halfway through my tears, I heard a lazy, casual laugh. Who's this little firecracker hiding here and crying? Dominic, hands behind his head, slowly sat up and came over, handing me a tissue. Crying alone is too lonely. You don't know me, so I'll just be a quiet listener. That year we were both 15. I never told him why I was crying, but he stayed with me the whole afternoon. Later I got to know him, the school bully from the neighboring school. They said he was vicious in fights. Also a wild child without a dad. Maybe it was fate, but we slowly became close. He took me to the mountaintop to watch the stars. Introduced me to all his friends. Gave me the love and care I never got at home. And told me to always be true to myself. 'Cause some people would love me just the way I am. He always showed up whenever I fought with my family, just appearing out of nowhere, gently holding me while I let everything out. He'd stand up for me too, silencing anyone who called me anything less than amazing. He told me, "Ava, no one can define your worth. No one gets to judge you. You are who you are." And when people talked about him behind his back, calling him names, saying he was nothing but trouble, I stood up for him too. When he didn't feel like talking, I'd sit quietly beside him, reminding him that he wasn't alone. I told him, "Dominic, you don't have to be anything specific. Just being you means something. That's enough." People used to say he was cold and rebellious, so wild except when he was around me. It was like two souls lost at sea had finally found each other. Dominic and I became inseparable. After high school we fell in love. That night, a bunch of us rode our bikes to the mountaintop to celebrate becoming adults. Then, quietly, he reached for my hand behind the group and pulled me away, running off into the night. In that moment it felt like it was just the two of us in the whole world. "Dominic, doesn't this feel like we're running away together?" I remember that summer so clearly. The roundest moon, the brightest stars, the most beautiful sound of cicadas in the air. And those eyes of his, so sincere, so full of promise. Under the sky painted with stars, we held each other and kissed, thinking that moment would last forever. Chapter 06. Dominic. You're finally back. I've missed you so much. My voice trembled, my body shaking slightly as I turned toward him. Why are you crying? Come here, let me hold you. I rushed forward, heart pounding, only to find Lucas pushing a bike toward me instead. Sis, why are you crying? He asked softly. Didn't Dominic always say he'd never leave his bike parked next to yours without him? I saw you ride off, so I pushed the black one out and started it up. So it was all in my head. I turned away and wiped my tears. People say you shouldn't fall for someone too incredible too early in life, because everyone else will pale in comparison. Maybe I was just too attached. It had already been 3 years and still I hadn't moved on. I was still hoping for a miracle. Chapter 07. When I returned home, everyone was waiting for me. Seeing my blue hair and biker outfit, my mom exploded. Look at what you've become. You don't even look like a proper girl anymore. No wonder Henry doesn't want you. I stood at the doorway, suddenly not wanting to step inside. I turned to walk away, but my dad called after me. Where do you think you're going? Get in here. Call his family and apologize. Tell them you'll marry no one but Henry. The invitations have already gone out. There's no reason not to go through with it. And get rid of that ridiculous color in your hair. The Henry family doesn't like flashy women. I slowly walked toward them. Smiling, I said, "Why should I apologize? He's the one who wants to give his ex a home. He's the one who called off the wedding. What's wrong with letting him go?" My dad stood up and slapped me across the face. Ungrateful. He's confused, but are you too? Why can't you use your brain? Do you really think a family like Henry's would ever accept a divorced woman as their daughter-in-law? He continued. So what if he has a woman on the side? Who doesn't turn a blind eye as long as it doesn't threaten your position as the official wife? What's got you so upset? I gently touched my cheek, tugging at my lips. You two can play your own games. Sorry, I just can't. His chest heaved with anger, and he grabbed the cup on the table and threw it at me. So a wild child died. Big deal. It's been 3 years and you're still stuck like this. Are you going to stay widowed for him for the rest of your life? Ava, I'll say it one more time. This wedding is happening. Even if you have to die, you'll die married to the Henry family. I didn't dodge the cup. It grazed my forehead, leaving a cut near my brow. Suddenly, memories came flooding back. After Dominic fell off the cliff during that race, I spiraled into severe depression. My wrists were covered in scars from self-harm, until the servants found me and saved me. But my parents didn't understand. They thought I was being dramatic. How could a rich girl blessed with everything suffer from something like that? They didn't care. They had already built separate lives with other families when I was young. I never understood. If they didn't love each other, why did they even bother having me? Then, when the company faced a crisis, they decided to marry me off to the Henry family. I refused at first, but they threw Henry's photo at me and told me to stop pretending. If I really didn't want to live, then just go die. I looked down at the photo, and for a moment I thought Dominic had come back. They looked so alike, especially those eyes. Like a drowning person grabbing onto a lifeline, I agreed to the meeting. I dyed my hair black, just like they wanted, because the Henry family didn't like flashy women. I wanted to stay by his side. Even if it was just to look at that face, it was enough for me. But I never expected that Henry would be the one to reach out first. He made the first move and we got together. Later I found out that he was using me as a stand-in too. We were both getting something out of it. So when he asked me to grow out my hair, I did. When he said he liked me in long white cotton dresses, I wore them. When he said he didn't like me smoking, I quit. He even asked me to stop riding my motorcycle, and I listened. To others, the once rebellious me had tamed herself for him, loving him to death. Even Henry believed it. What could I do? Without that face, I wouldn't have had the courage to keep living. So no matter how many times he crossed my line, I accepted it. Because every time I looked at him, I felt like Dominic was still there, never having left. Until his dream lover came back. And then his eyes were only for someone else. That's when I finally woke up from this dream. No matter how similar Henry looked, he was never him. Chapter 09. Before bed, I unexpectedly received a call from Henry. Your parents called mine. I remembered how earlier I had posted my first motorcycle photo in 3 years on social media. A friend commented below. So cool. Not long after, under that comment, Henry replied. Who would like such a flashy woman? Definitely not marriage material. Cut him off. Don't worry. You're not the only one who doesn't want this wedding. I felt a little regretful though, because I knew I'd never see those tender eyes looking at me again. Henry fell silent. Then he chuckled bitterly, his tone sharp. Ava, if you can put up with Elena, I could reluctantly marry you. But don't expect me to love you, got it? After all, it's just to please the parents. You love me so much, and your family needs mine. I could fulfill your dream. I touched the string of English letters on my wrist and smiled slowly. Henry, if you're really going to marry me, does Elena know? He didn't respond. Only the sound of his quickened breathing remained. Henry, I know you're using me as a stand-in for Elena. Funny thing is, I'm doing the same. Do you know when you look the most like him? I smiled, remembering Dominic's casual grin. It's when you don't say anything and just look at me. Even though you're just looking at someone else through me. I'm not sad at all. Just seeing that face makes me happy. I softened my tone. So even though you made me do a lot of things I didn't want to, I never really got mad at you. But like you said, no matter how much I try, I'll never be like her. And no matter how similar you look, you're not the same person. So we're both stand-ins. I don't owe you, and I don't love you. This wedding is not going to. Before I could finish, Henry abruptly hung up the phone. Chapter 10. I took 2 tablets of Astaxalem. Only in my dreams could I see Dominic again. Back to those 4 years when we loved each other the most. After the college entrance exams, we officially got together. In front of all our friends. Do you know what that felt like? Walking down the street holding hands with the person you love. Drinking bubble tea. Watching a movie. Even if we didn't talk, just quietly looking at each other made the air feel sweet. We could finally ride our beloved motorcycles, racing together through the open world. Lucas once said, "Dominic and Ava, they're the most perfect couple I've ever seen. Just standing there, they look like a scene from a romance drama." I praised him, telling him to keep talking like that. Dominic, with his hands in his pockets, would lean against his bike lazily, watching me joke around with our friends. Later, we went to the same university and started building a racing team together, competing in events. Honestly, he was incredibly attractive, always making appearances on the confession wall, receiving love letters after class. He worried I'd get jealous, so he bribed the campus radio station to read love letters he wrote to me every day. I'd get goosebumps and he'd pull me close, laughing. "I'll never get tired of writing. I'll write to you every day from now on." A lot of people thought we wouldn't last, but we stayed together for 4 whole years. Eventually, my parents found out about our relationship. They called me home that day, furious, demanding that I break up with that bastard. I refused. My dad grabbed a stick, ready to beat me. I lifted my chin, stubborn. "You both have your own families now. All these years, you never cared about me. So what gives you the right to suddenly interfere in my life? I'm sick of your hypocrisy. What am I to you? Tool. A commodity. I'm your father. I gave you life, and you'll never escape your fate." My mom added, "I've been too lenient with you. That's why you've lost all respect and dare to say such things. Is it that bastard who taught you this?" Just as the stick was about to hit me, Dominic appeared and saved me. He pulled me up and shielded me behind him. "All these years, you've never cared for her. She hasn't received your love yet. You expect her to repay your kindness. Why? Why should she obey your every word? This is the girl I love. If you don't love her, I do. If you don't want her, I do." That day, he held my hand and led me out of that house. We didn't say a word, but he held me all night. We had promised each other we'd get married after graduation. But near graduation, I started being followed for no reason. Sometimes, flower pots would fall from above while I walked on the street. Dominic also began to seem distracted. One day he suddenly asked me, "If one day I'm not here anymore, what would you do?" "I'd follow you," I said, not joking. Before the age of 15, I had no family, no friends. I was rebellious and wild. Didn't even know what it meant to live. After meeting him, he became my salvation. I couldn't imagine life without Dominic. "Don't," he sighed. "Even if I'm not around, you have to live well. Find someone who loves you. Get married. Have kids. Understand?" I wrapped my arms tighter around his waist. "What are you talking about? The only person I'll ever wear a wedding dress for is you. I'll never marry anyone else. Don't be stubborn. I'm serious." "Why are you being so serious? Tell me. Do you have someone else behind my back?" He cleared his throat, gently stroking my hair. "My princess. I wouldn't dare. You better not dare, or I'll marry someone else and make you suffer chasing me." It was just an angry retort. He chuckled softly. "If there ever comes a day when you really get married, and the groom isn't me, I'll come and crash the wedding." Dominic said he wanted to win a race for me, to propose in front of everyone with a trophy and a ring, giving me the grandest proposal. But I never expected. He'd never return from that race. In the dream, the scene shifted to a misty forest. All I could remember was the deafening cheers, the scorching summer heat, and the news on the big screen. His motorcycle falling off the cliff. Amid the sky full of flames in that moment, there was no more sound in my ears. Chapter 11. The next morning, I woke up with the scent of leather and gasoline still clinging to me. My phone was buzzing nonstop. Notifications from social media, calls from my mom, messages from Henry's family. But none of it mattered anymore. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. Blue hair, tattoos peeking out from under my jacket. Eyes that had finally stopped searching for something that would never come back. I wasn't running away this time. I was returning. Called Lucas. Get the bikes ready. We're going for a ride. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "You got it, sis." When I got to the shop, he was already there, leaning against the white bike like old times, sunglasses on, smirk playing on his lips. "Thought you were gonna sleep forever," he teased. I threw him a helmet. "Let's go." We rode through the city, past places where Dominic and I used to hang out, past the house I once tried so hard to make a home with Henry, past the university where we built our racing team together. And then, without warning, I turned toward the mountains. Lucas followed without hesitation. As we reached the top, the wind hit me like a slap. Familiar, painful, real. I stood there, looking down at the world below, feeling both small and unstoppable. I pulled out my phone and opened Instagram. I posted a photo, me on the bike, wind in my hair, sun behind me. Captioned, "I wore white for someone who never came. But I'm done waiting." The comments started rolling in instantly. Some confused, some supportive, some trying to reach out. But one message stood out. It was from an unknown number. "You look exactly like her. Like the Ava I fell in love with." Attached was a picture. A man standing beside a black Kawasaki. Same wild eyes. Same rebellious smirk. Same tattoo on his arm. Dominic. Only he wasn't dead. He had faked his death after the crash because someone wanted him gone. Someone powerful. He disappeared to protect me. And now he was back. Final chapter. Later that night I got another message. "I'll be at the track tomorrow. If you want answers, or if you want to race, I'll be waiting." I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I smiled. Because I finally understood. My worth was never tied to someone else's gaze. Not Henry's. Not even Dominic's. I had lived through pain, betrayal, silence, and grief. And somehow, I still found my way back to myself. But now I had a choice. Do I chase the ghost of a love that left? Or do I face the man who broke me, and see if he's worth rebuilding for? Either way, I was going to ride. Because no matter how fast life tries to spin me off course, I never retreat.